How's it going, trainers? The brand new Hoenn Cup is coming up fast, but which Gen 3 Pokemon will be making a splash in the meta? Well, that's just what we're here to discuss today, so strap in as we go over some of the best Pokemon and teams to try out. Welcome back. The Hoenn Cup will debut alongside the return of the Mega Master League for the final week of Season 13 in the GBL. As you'd expect, you can only use Pokemon within the Hoenn Pokédex in this cup. Now, to save some time and not describe what you may already know, I'm going to just mention all the core Great League picks who are good here. So Medicham, Swampert, Vigoroth, Pelipper, Deoxys Defense, Walrein, Sableye, Altaria, and Registeel are all good options for the Hoenn Cup, as one may expect, so I don't think it's necessary to go in depth on each one of them. But now, let's talk about a few more unique picks for this cup. Starting off, we have Gardevoir, one good charmer for this cup. Even with Charm nerfed, Gardevoir will prove a valuable pick, especially with Medicham, Sableye, and other counter users like Vigoroth and Deoxys running around. It's not a foolproof Pokemon though, as Registeel is also going to be really prevalent, and Gardevoir itself is very frail. It can definitely pressure many opponents into switching, which can turn the match in your favor. I suspect Gardevoir and counter users will go well together in a team. Moving on though, we have Tropius. Now like Gardevoir, Tropius is not without fatal flaws, being very weak to Pokemon like Registeel and Altaria, and coverage moves like Medicham's Ice Punch and Deoxys' Rock Slide. Beyond that though, it's a very solid choice for this cup. It's quite the bulky Pokemon, and Leaf Blade hits really hard, so it'll definitely serve your team well if you plan around its weaknesses. Plus, a lot of the core meta takes super effective or at least neutral damage from its powerful Razor Leaf, so if you choose that move, you can really pressure opponents with Tropius. Next up, we have Dusclops, who sometimes rears its one-eyed head in limited formats, and this one will be no exception. Dusclops is really bulky, but also flexible with different moves. It's got the Elemental Punches and Shadow Punch for weaker but wide coverage, and either Return or Poltergeist for hard-hitting moves. I personally think the best moveset for this cup will be Ice Punch and Poltergeist, letting it hit at least neutral damage toward most of the meta, only running into a few pitfalls. Dusclops will definitely make for a really good save swap for this cup, and it'll also wall popular picks like Deoxys and Medicham. For pick number 4, we have Whiscash. Now, Whiscash has definitely jumped in and out of the core Great League meta, so I'm sure most of you are still familiar with it, but I'd still like to mention it. Whiscash has a very high stamina stat, and its ground typing helps a lot against Registeel. If you bait right, Blizzard can also take down a big chunk of the heavy hitters in this cup, including Altaria, Pelipper, and Vigoroth. And while grass moves from the likes of Tropius are definitely scary, I think having Blizzard as an option is very scary for those grass types. And for our last pick, we have the other good Steel-type Pokemon in this cup, being Mawile. Now, Mawile is usually relegated to limited cups, similar to Dusclops, but I think there's definitely merit here for it. I'd say it's best with Fairy Wind alongside Iron Head and Play Rough, giving it more pressure against Swampert, Sableye, and Medicham. Fire Fang would work best against Registeel and Tropius, but it can't use its charged moves as often. Mawile may not have the best moves in the world, but its incredible typing helps it resist a lot of different moves from meta Pokemon. Now, as always, there's more good choices that we didn't mention who are good in this cup. For example, Celio will make a good alternative to Walrein, who may do better than it sometimes, with there being less steel types in this cup. Moving on though, we're going to go over some teams to try out for this cup, though do note that the meta may shift as time goes on, so viable team compositions may be affected by that. Nonetheless, our first team is Altaria, Whiscash, and Medicham. Now with Altaria as a lead, you'll put a lot of pressure on most other leads, and for the few who threaten you like Walrein, Gardevoir, and Registeel, you'll have Whiscash as a safe switch. And besides Medicham, this is a pretty budget-friendly team, and I'd say you can also make this team work substituting Medicham for Vigoroth. You'll just trade some coverage for Body Slam spam. But overall, I think this team will do quite well. Speaking of Vigoroth though, we've got a team with Vigoroth, Dusclops, and Tropius. Now Vigoroth can chew through a ton of meta Pokemon, and most times where that doesn't do the trick like Medicham or Altaria, you can still unleash Body Slam spam. And like we discussed earlier, Dusclops will be a great anti-meta pick, really helping you out against many threats like Vigoroth, so it's a great safe swap. And Tropius with Razor Leaf makes for a solid fast move heavy closer, but I would recommend saving a shield for it in the case of a Medicham or Walrein closer. And for our last team, we have Mawile, Sableye, and Swampert. Mawile will be excellent for countering certain Pokemon like Sableye and Medicham with its unique defensive typing, though its moves aren't the most defensive and it's also on the frailer side, so that's where the excellent safe swap that is Sableye comes in, and the spammy closer Swampert as well. A few Pokemon like Opponent, Swampert, and Pelipper can be problematic for this team, but it provides some great coverage and focuses on quick charging, versatile charge moves. So if that's your style of team, I'd recommend trying this one out. But that just about wraps up our Hoenn Cup prep guide. Down in the comments below, let me know what you're thinking of running for this cup. Me personally, I think I'm going to be trying out Altaria, Whiscash, and Medicham. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming videos. If you're planning on playing the Mega Master League this week, stay tuned for our Mega Master League prep guide. Until then though, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.